We bought the Taproot filly out of Tisn't She Beautiful and will be trained by Todd Fletcher. Extremely athletic, a lot like him. We're excited to see him on the track.
Beautiful filly. She's out of a graded stakes mare that ran early as a 2-year-old, so I like that quite a bit out of her. This filly looks like she's going to be super early and precocious. Very good muscled filly, just a lot to like about her.
Taproot, standing at Gainesway.
Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona and welcome to another edition of the TimeformUS Road to the Derby series presented by Gainesway. Thanks to Gainesway for presenting all of our Kentucky Derby prep coverage at Daily Racing Form this season. And the first Saturday in March got a lot taking place on the Derby prep stage across the country. 3 preps, one at Gulfstream Park, one at Aqueduct the Gotham, and at Santa Anita, which is the focus of this video, we're going to take a look at the Grade 2 San Felipe Stakes. This one offering 50 Kentucky Derby qualifying points to the winner, though only 5 of the 7 runners are eligible to receive those points, as 2 of them are trained by Bob Baffert, a story that has been well publicized throughout this Derby prep season. Let's throw up the field for this race. Have not seen the morning line yet, as I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon, but if I put on my own personal morning line maker hat, I would imagine that the horses that will vie for favoritism are the number 5 Doppelganger and the number 6 Forbidden Kingdom, 2 horses that are coming out of the San Vicente and stretching out in distance. Forbidden Kingdom, the winner of that race. We'll talk about both of those in a little bit greater detail in just a bit. But 7 runners in this field, I think it's a pretty wide open affair. Those 2 likely favorites don't have a major edge over their rivals. Bob Baffert has another horse in this race in addition to Doppelganger, that being the number 3 Armagnac, another horse that could attract some tote support. We've got some other horses that are coming out of the Robert B. Lewis, the route prep for this race that was won so impressively by Messier. Messier obviously not coming back in this San Felipe, but some horses that were beaten by double-digit lengths by him last time. Cabo Spirit and Happy Jack are back in this field, and we'll see if they fare a little bit better in what appears to be a slightly softer spot. Let's take a look at the TimeformUS pace projector before we get into some of the main contenders. And no surprise to see the number 6 Forbidden Kingdom depicted on the early lead. This horse stretching out in distance for the first time to try the 2 turns off a series of sprint races, and he has been a front runner in those sprint races, so he possesses a ton of early speed, and you would imagine that his rider Juan Hernandez will be hell-bent on getting to the front end with this horse, and we'll just see if he can slow him down in the early going after securing that early leading position, because there are some horses that could press him for the front end. The number 3 Armagnac, one of those Bob Baffert trainees, coming off a gate-to-wire victory in a route race, and the number 4 Beautiful Art, another horse that's stretching out in distance for the first time, that did show some tactical speed sprinting in his maiden victory last time out. Let's take a look at the last victory of that early leader, the number 6 Forbidden Kingdom, when he won the San Vicente Stakes back at the end of January at Santa Anita. That is him in the orange and purple Spendthrift silks, coming off the turn with the lead. This chestnut horse has a lot of early speed, and he's laid down some fast fractions in the San Vicente. Do also take note of that horse in the pink cap with the light blue silks all the way on the outside trying to close. That is Doppelganger, who will face again here, but notice that Forbidden Kingdom really not letting anybody else into the race through the final quarter mile of this race, despite laying down some pretty fast fractions. I thought he held sway gamely to open up that 2-length advantage as they came onto the wire. And the thing that I do want to highlight in his TimeformUS PP is this is a horse that has a gigantic TimeformUS speed figure advantage over this field, earning figures of 117 and 116 for his last couple of races. Those numbers just tower over his rivals. I don't think anybody in this race has come close to that, just Cabo Spirit, but nobody else has earned a number within 10 points of that aside from Cabo Spirit. So Forbidden Kingdom has a big advantage from that perspective, but take a look at the pace figures for his last couple of races, color-coded in red, and the final time numbers of those races, just a 110 and a 99. So he's gotten gigantic pace upgrades to achieve those TimeformUS speed figures, especially 2-back in the Bob Hope, where he laid down some very fast fractions. It didn't fade to be second behind Messier, but got a big pace upgrade for that 116 because he gets a lot of extra credit in TimeformUS speed figure methodology for setting those very fast paces. We'll see if the same thing plays out going the 2 turns. He can't go nearly as fast on the front end as he went in those sprint races if he's going to hang around at the end, but he did so show some stamina to hang on in those sprint races going 7 7 furlongs after laying down such fast fractions. So we'll see about him stretching out. He does have some miler sprint pedigree on the dam side. He's by American Pharoah, so some versatility in the pedigree, but he does have some questions to answer trying the 2-turn mile and the 16th distance for the first time. Let's take a look at the debut race of Doppelganger, who did finish behind Forbidden Kingdom in the San Vicente last time. We're going to check out his first race when he ran at Los Alamitos and won his debut. And I liked what I saw from him this day. He comes through between horses after rating just off the pace in the early going, and you can see Flavien Prat just kind of shaking the reins at him through the stretch. He is winning this race very easily, and he finishes up well, drawing off by over 3 lengths under very minimal pressure coming to the wire. I understand why he was bet down to 4-5 favoritism in the San Felipe off this visually impressive performance, but I do think it's a bit of a concern that he was unable to win that San Vicente, because he got a fast pace to close into. Things really did set up for him pretty well, and he was just kind of one-paced through the stretch. You saw that in the replay for Forbidden Kingdom. Doppelganger did kind of make up a little bit of ground to the final 16th of a mile, but he really should have made more of a run at Forbidden Kingdom in that race, given the way the pace shook out. Perhaps the added distance is going to work for this horse. He's buying to Mischief, whose progeny can certainly get as far as a mile and a 16th. His dam, she was a stakes-winning dirt router, so there is some evidence that Doppelganger is going to be able to handle this stretch out in distance. I've watched some of his recent workouts. He worked with Newgrange 2-back, the horse that was sent off as a big favorite in the Rebel Stakes last weekend, and to my eye, Doppelganger was going better than Newgrange in that workout. You would hope so, because Newgrange did not run well in the Rebel last weekend, but this horse does appear to be training well coming into this race, so that's always something that's worth considering for runners from the Bob Baffert stable. But I do think he's going to take quite a bit of money once again. He's been popular out the windows in both starts so far, and I wouldn't want to take too short a price on him, because I do think that he is a horse that does have to take a step forward to win this race. The other Bob Baffert trainee is the number 3 Armagnac. Let's take a look at his maiden victory when he won going the mile and the 16th distance at Santa Anita last time out. That is him coming into the stretch on the lead in those light blue silks, and he's going to turn away a horse that challenged Simperoli to the outside and just kind of stay on in the late stages to hold sway and win this race. I wouldn't say that the way he's coming home makes me love him against this field. You can see he's coming out a little bit in the late stages, drifting out. He's got his head turned to the side. He's still a little bit green. He's kind of got that up and down action that's not the prettiest to watch, but he does get it done, and he earned a 101 TimeformUS speed figure for that performance. It's a respectable number for a maiden breaker, but I think he's going to have to run faster if he's going to beat this San Felipe field, and I doubt he's going to enjoy such an easy early lead on the front end as he got last time with a horse like Forbidden Kingdom in the race. Forbidden Kingdom, in all likelihood, will be in front of Armagnac early, so he'll have to adjust coming from just off the pace. And I was looking up some stats for Bob Baffert. He's got a high percentage coming off maiden wins, trying graded stakes race like this horse is, but the ROI is paltry. It's very low, around $1.20. So you lose money betting these horses in the long run. So I was slightly against Armagnac in this race. Another horse that I think deserves some consideration just off his dirt race last time is the number 7 Cabo Spirit, and we'll take a look at his past performances. And he's that horse that I mentioned that is the only one that earned a TimeformUS speed figure that's anywhere in range of the numbers that Forbidden Kingdom has been running, when he got that 113 when he finished second last time out in the Robert B. Lewis. Now, obviously, he was nowhere near the winner Messier at the finish of that race. Messier won that race by 15 lengths, so Cabo Spirit is lucky that Messier is not back in here, because he would have quite a bit of ground to make up on that rival. But he did earn a speed figure that puts him right in the mix if he's able to repeat it. And I think that's a big if, because he was just kind of stalking the pace the entire way on the outside, really didn't have a straw on his path for the entire running of the Robert B. Lewis, and he was competing over a track that you can see in the TimeformUS PPs is color-coded in bright red that I've highlighted on the left-hand side of this screenshot. And that indicates that the track was extremely speed favoring on February 6th. I think that carried the winner Messier quite a bit, and it might have also carried Cabo Spirit to that second place finish, because all the horses that were trying to do some running from the back of the pack in the Robert B. Lewis just seemed to be compromised by the fact that nobody was really making up any ground on the dirt on that February 6th card at Santa Anita. So we'll see if Cabo Spirit's able to repeat that last out effort. If he does, he's a contender. Personally, I'm a little bit skeptical. Another horse that's coming out of the Robert B. Lewis that I do think deserves some consideration is the number 1 Happy Jack. But let's go back and take a look at Happy Jack's debut when he won on January 22nd at Santa Anita. This was only going 6 furlongs, but I want to highlight this race because I thought that Happy Jack showed some attributes that are really appealing. He was dropping back on the far turn, taking a lot of kickback in his face, but I thought he showed some real grit and gameness to come through between horses in the stretch here, darting down to the inside in the late stages to get up to win this race. And he is going away at the end to win by just over a length and a half. And he gallops out strongly at the end of this race. And he's a horse that if you watch his workouts, he typically does gallop out strongly at the end of them, like a horse that is going to want more ground eventually. He did get the more ground last time, going this mile in the 16th distance in that aforementioned Robert B. Lewis, but he had things working against him. Like I said, with relation to Cabo Spirit, the track was extremely speed favoring, and Happy Jack was last in the early going, so he had no chance to make up ground given the track profile. Furthermore, his trainer Doug O'Neill was wheeling him back just 2 weeks after winning that maiden race in his career debut. That's asking a lot of horse who won his debut going 6 furlongs to come back in a graded stakes in a route race 2 weeks later. So maybe that just all caught up with Happy Jack last time. But now he's coming back off a 4-week layoff, so he's had a bit more time between starts. And I found a trainer stat in DRF Formulator for Doug O'Neill that gives me some hope for Happy Jack's chances in this race. Over the past 5 years, with horses making their 3rd lifetime start trying a route for the 2nd time, Doug O'Neill is 4 for 15 on the dirt, 27% win rate. And notably, when you look up this stat in Formulator, 8 of those 15 runners were in the exacta. So 4 winners, 4 second-place finishers, and there's a healthy ROI, some big prices in that stat. So I do think that bodes well for Happy Jack, running a lot better than he did when he tried a route for the first time in his 2nd career start, now trying it for a 2nd time in his 3rd career start. And he's a horse that, just based on pedigree and appearances, I do think will ultimately prove to be better going these longer 2-turn distances. So as you throw my picks for this race, you can see I'm giving one more shot to that number 1 Happy Jack. I tried him last time in the Robert B. Lewis, was disappointed in his effort, but I think he had some legitimate excuses that I highlighted. So putting him on top once again, because I'm just not thrilled with the favorites. I do have them 2nd and 3rd, the number 5 Doppelganger and the number 6 Forbidden Kingdom, but I think they both had questions to answer stretching out in distance for the first time. So I like Happy Jack. I'm hoping for a price somewhere in the 8 to 10 to 1 range, or maybe higher than that if they really go crazy on the 2 favorites. And I think we're going to get some decent value on that rail-drawn horse. So the number 1 Happy Jack for me in the grade 2 San Felipe on Saturday at Santa Anita. Thanks to Gainesway for presenting this video, and good luck to you if you're playing the races this weekend.